Before going further, I'd like to take time to acknowledge following persons and organizations for their support and guidance provided at every stage of this project. Professor Carl Hassan Ali, Professor Carlo Perez, Professor Kevin Rondas for negotiating and arranging together the Nexedge Trunking system from Kenwood Nexedge Canada. In particular, I'd like to thank Mr. Ron Rickford, President, and Mr. Michael Gatzi, Technical Specialist from Kenwood, for providing loading the equipment and initial training. Thank you. Without your generous contribution, our project would not have been possible. That being done, I'd like to go ahead with our presentation. So, what is trunking? Trunking is a method of providing a large number of subscribers access to a limited pool of communication channels, where upon request each subscriber gets is granted exclusive use to a communication channel before releasing it back to the pool to be made available for other users. So that being said, why do we need it? It all started with the repeater conventional the system working in a conventional configuration where we have a repeater tower and multiple mobile radio units, which all communicate on a preset set of frequencies, uplink and downlink frequencies. Of course, as the number of mobile users increased, they each had to wait for the frequency channels to become available, and as the wait time became longer, it was no more practical to use this kind of configuration, and that's why the solution was found in matching the discontinuous nature of the number of calls being placed with the limited number of frequency channels that are available. How is it the trunking system different from the cellular system? They use different frequency ranges. Trunking system usually uses UHF or VHF frequency bands, while the cellular phones use 900 MHz or 1800 MHz frequency bands. As well, the trunking system is modeling a half-duplex communication channel, while the cellular phones are using a full duplex. These are just a few of them, but I think the main difference lies in the pattern of the user pattern that they cater to. The trunking system is addressing the needs of a large number of users who require access to small time duration calls on a frequent basis, and they require access to these resources with little delay. Whereas in a conventional cellular system, phone system, we are addressing the needs of more casual users which are using for the system for longer periods of time, and they afford the luxury of waiting a couple of seconds maybe before the call is being answered and so on. They also, for cellular systems, they also require usually a larger bandwidth and data rates for data transfers. And our project here is mainly addressing the needs, the training needs for Humber College teaching staff, and we tried to put together a training manual composed of 5 lab experiments, with the first experiment looking at the general aspects of the trunking system, giving the students a hands-on experience, first contact with the trunking and how it works. From the basic operation, we moved to how to reset the system, and then in the second lab we're starting building up configurations, first for a single site, then the third lab describes the configuration of a multiple site, with the fourth and fifth lab designed as bringing in additional features. Fourth lab is bringing in additional features for the single site configuration, features such as QE monitoring, ESN validation, and can't recall the third feature, but I'll let you know toward the end of the presentation. And the fifth lab experiment is describing additional features for the multi-site sys configuration, where we're using group registration and dynamic allocation with group refusal. My colleagues will provide more details on the single site and the multi-site configurations later. But right now, for the additional features that we are talking about in the fourth and fifth lab, we have ESN validation, which allows the operator to configure few number of radio handsets. This improves on a security level and also on the availability of the system for the registered users. And another additional feature that we're talking about in the fourth lab is the so we have QE monitoring, where when we have a large number of calls requests being placed in the system, we have the calls being answered in a preset priority sequence. And as far as the multi-site configuration goes, we have additional features such as group monitoring. The idea behind group monitoring is that for a basic multi-site configuration, we are using resources at all the sites, including multi-site configuration, regardless whether we have users there that are switched on that talk group listening or not. And that quickly came up as an efficiency issue, which was corrected by this feature, where we have users, when they register on the system, they also register their talk group, so that the controller knows where they should direct a group call if a user is there waiting and listening or not. If not, then the traffic channel remains available for the other users, and that improves the efficiency of the system. The next step following that was how can we improve that even further is we can say the feature that was introduced was to restrict access to that group host to a select number of users, and so that not all users that are switched on a group talk at a certain site were allowed to listen to that talk group there. Well, further details maybe later we can discuss about that. For now, I'd like to pass over to my colleague Karen, which will describe some details on the single site configuration. Thank you.
Sorry, it's good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here I'm discussing about the single site. It's the one way of using the Kenwood Nexedge Trunked system. In this, the single site it's working as its own. So here in this, there are a couple of repeaters being used. The first of the repeater is used as a control channel, as you see that there is a button of CCH, and then the other of the repeaters are used as a traffic channel, which are being used for the traffic which is being passed on to the users. And here we also make some groups which are used for the group talks, so that we can talk to all the users of the groups. And the side by side, it gives us the privacy from the other groups that they cannot listen to the first group, which what they are talking. And there are some we created user IDs which are purely dependent on the users, the mobile handsets which are being registered with that site, so that they can validate, and as per the Daniel said that the ESN numbers are being registered with the site. So these database are being registered on the single site. That's how it works. And it's up to us that how much mobile units we can register to it according to the availability and our requirement. And one more thing is there that for the whole system there is one switch required to communicate with each other. So the whole system is connected to each other with the switch, or you can say VPN switch or the normal switch. Thank you. And now I'm passing to the Karan for the next.
Thanks, Gurpreet. Good morning, everybody. So now we are going to discuss about the multi-site configuration. Actually, what we see here is we have two sites. Multi-site, we build two individual sites, and we could connect them using a switch, or it can be a router also. At site 1, we have a repeater working as a control channel and traffic channel. To let you know, we could configure up to 30 channels sorry, at a single site. And if we want to connect them together, we could connect up to 40 sites. So at site 2, there's a dual functional repeater working both as a control channel and a traffic channel. So again, as described earlier, we have group talks as described as WLS group 1 and group 2. So these groups actually restricts the users to talk in their particular groups. Then we have UID, the unit identification, described as WLS1 and WLS2. So the main focus on for this trunking system basically benefits for faster access and secure communication between two-way radio systems. It benefits also like we can reuse resources again and again because if on site 1